It's Monday. I got my coffee. The star of the show's on the bed. The hubby's to the left. It's Labor Day. It can only be time for
the morning brew.
How y'all doing, as we say down south? It is Monday. It is the beginning of the week. However, if we didn't have Monday, everybody'd hate Tuesday. At least that's my theory. This past weekend was Dragon Con, and even though we tried to meet up with Roman and others, it didn't quite work because we had a bit of a family emergency, but all that is getting resolved. The family member is feeling much better, so there is that. Hearts, prayers, thoughts, and well wishes are still going out to Texas and Louisiana for the survivors of HARVEY. The links are still down below for those charities if you want to help out. And also, please send any good energies your way to Jeff Holiday, Memory, and their child. There were wildfires in Oregon yesterday, which probably caused a change in the format of YouTube saves last night. So please keep an eye out for them. It's going to be covered today in the news, the wildfires over there, as well as what's going on in Florida with Irma. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and slip into the weather.
A hot, humid Labor Day Monday in the southeast. Aside from maybe a storm in Tampa, Key West, the weather stays dry for the outdoor barbecue. We're keeping an eye on Hurricane Irma, a major hurricane in the Atlantic, far away from the southeast for now, being steered due west with a big high pressure to the north. This will directly impact parts of the Caribbean, the northern Leeward Islands by midweek as a major hurricane. Winds over 110 miles per hour. Then by Thursday and Friday, directly impacting Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, and the Bahamas. Now, where Irma goes thereafter has been unknown because there is a great degree of model variability in the forecast through next weekend. Computer models, some of which want to bring it into the southeast coast of the U.S., while others still want to steer just offshore the coast and maybe out to sea. Still bears some watching. We are at the peak of hurricane season, and the southeast needs to be on alert. Have your hurricane plan in place as we do track Hurricane Irma just in case. But a major hurricane impacting the northeastern Leeward Islands by Wednesday, directly impacting the U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and the Bahamas Thursday and Friday. And still the impacts to the continental U.S. remain a bit unknown. Here's the southeast on Tuesday. A cold front begins to enter into the region. This is the heat and humidity breaker for us by midweek. Thunderstorms in Nashville, Memphis, even Birmingham and Atlanta late in the day. Still quite hot, though. Columbia 91. And afternoon thunderstorms developing in Florida, capable of a brief heavy downpour. And, of course, the cloud to ground lightning.
Looking for unique handmade jewelry you can't find anywhere else? Please check out my website. The link is in the description below. I also do custom orders. Check me out.
Hello, and hope you're having a great Labor Day weekend. I'm meteorologist Christine Clark. Record heat in the west, Labor Day severe thunderstorms across the Ohio Valley, and tracking Irma, the latest major hurricane now in the Atlantic. Here's Monday, 99 degrees in Portland. The record high is 98. After 2 consecutive days of oppressive heat in San Francisco, the cool down has begun as the remains of Tropical Storm Lydia move right along the coast here. That's going to be enough to give Los Angeles a thunderstorm on Labor Day Monday. Yet it's cool. Minneapolis, 72, about to cool down in Chicago this week with a strong front sweeping through the Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley. And right along that boundary is where we have the possibility of severe thunderstorms developing in the afternoon, as well as a bit of instability here near Phoenix, Arizona. Isolated severe storms there, but certainly the greatest risk for severe weather. Detroit, Cleveland, we have Toledo in the mix here, Indianapolis, Weston, and Springfield. Now, in this slight risk, this is where we have the greatest threat for severe weather. Thunderstorms capable of damaging winds, maybe some hail and isolated tornadoes. So if you're going to be spending time outdoors, as a lot of us are on Labor Day, keep an eye to the sky, have a way of receiving severe weather information, as there is the possibility of severe weather Monday afternoon. Now, this is Hurricane Irma, a major hurricane tracking right through the Leeward Islands midweek. Major hurricane means that there are winds over 110 miles per hour, and Irma sustains major hurricane status right into the Bahamas by Friday afternoon, directly impacting the Bahamas by then, as well as Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, and concerned about the Leeward Islands with dangerous storm surge, high winds, and very heavy rain. Now, direct impacts to the continental U.S. with Irma, still a bit unknown, as there is a great variability in the model runs here, but still something, of course, to keep an eye on, especially the southeastern United States, as it is the peak of hurricane season now that we're in September. And here's a preview of Tuesday nationwide.
Our first story is going to be the wildfire story. So let's go ahead and get into it. Los Angeles. Smoke filled the sky and ash rained down across Los Angeles on Sunday from a wildfire that the mayor said was the largest in city history. One of several blazes that sent thousands fleeing homes across the U.S. West during a blistering holiday weekend heat wave. In Oregon, crews rescued about 140 hikers forced to spend the night in the woods after the fire broke out along the popular Columbia River Gorge Trail. Wildfires also burned in a 2,700-year-old grove of giant sequoia trees near Yosemite National Park, forced evacuations in Glacier National Park, and drove people from homes in parts of the West struggling with blazing temperatures. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti declared a local emergency at the state level. Governor Jerry Brown did the same for the county after the wildfire destroyed 3 homes. He had to wait till it destroyed 3 homes first. And threatened hillside neighborhoods. More than 1,000 firefighters battled flames that chewed through more than 9 square miles, which is 23 kilometers, of brush-covered mountains. Authority eased evacuation orders for Burbank and Glendale later Sunday and were considering doing the same for Los Angeles. However, as easing temperatures and a bit of rain helped the 1,000 firefighters slow the flames' progress. But about 10% of the 1,400 people ordered out of their homes in that fire had returned, Garcetti said. That can change in a moment's notice, and the winds can accelerate very quickly, Los Angeles Fire Captain Ralph Terrazas cautioned. There's a lot of fuel out there left to burn. Fires burning up and down the Sierra Nevada and further to the northwest cast an eerie yellow and gray haze over much of California, and much of the state was under alerts because of poor air quality. California authorities ordered evacuation for a third small town Sunday in one of the wildfires, a blaze that has burned 9 square miles, 23 kilometers, near Yosemite National Park. Firefighters battling that blaze were making it a priority to safeguard the ancient grove of giant sequoia and a pair of historic cabins at the foot of the trees. Fire spokeswoman Ann Grandy said fire crews had wrapped the 2 19th century cabins and an outhouse in shiny fire-resistant material to protect them from the flames that had entered the Nelder Grove. Forecasters said more heat could be expected when remnants of Tropical Storm Lydia moved north from Mexico's Baja California during the weekend. So this was Saturday into Sunday as we do the weekend recap. All right, let's see here. And now we're going to listen to a little bit of the NPR.
That is North Korean state television announcing its claim that it has conducted its 6th and most powerful nuclear test yet. This is North Korea's first nuclear test with Donald Trump as the U.S. president. NPR's Elise Hu joins us from Seoul to talk about this escalating situation. Elise, tell us what you've learned about the blast itself.
North Korea claims it tested a powerful hydrogen or thermonuclear bomb, and it happened at the Punggye-ri test site in the northeastern part of the country where Pyongyang has conducted its previous tests. And early analysis indicates that this blast triggered a magnitude 6.3 earthquake that could be felt from far eastern Russia and in Chinese border communities. And the strength of this tremor is important because that tells scientists about the power of the blast itself. A magnitude 6.3 quake would suggest the bomb had a yield as much as 10 times more powerful than North Korea's last nuclear test, which happened this month last year.
So a serious escalation. As you mentioned, neighboring countries have responded how?
Japan, South Korea, and China came out quickly with strong condemnations. Japan's prime minister called this, quote, completely unacceptable. And Japan is already on edge because you'll remember that just last week, North Korea flew a missile over its northern region of Hokkaido, and that was the first time a North Korean test launch flew over Japan since 2009. South Korea, also unhappy. The president here says he's disappointed and angry. But what happens next at the international level is a question. Japan and South Korea are calling for the strongest possible pressure and sanctions to, quote, completely isolate North Korea to try and get it to return to talks. So we're likely to see more sanctions on Pyongyang. But as you know, so far sanctions haven't proven to work.
And on the heels of the NPR radio snippet, here are the facts about North Korea's nuclear test. Let's see. The blast was picked up by seismic stations all over the world, and it was big. The Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty Organization, which monitors the globe for nuclear tests, said that its monitor system had gone off scale. The U.S. Geological Survey recorded a 6.3 magnitude quake, as the NPR said, which was human-made. That's far larger than the seismic signature from the North's last test, conducted roughly a year ago. So here's what you need to know. North Korea's previous nuclear tests have been in the tens of kilotons range. That corresponds roughly to a weapon the size of the ones used on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in World War II. It's believed that the North's earlier tests were of nuclear weapons that use uranium or plutonium for their explosive yield. This time, the North claims to have mastered a far more powerful hydrogen weapon. Some early estimates are putting this test in the hundreds of kiloton range. That's very roughly the equivalent of 100,000 tons of TNT. Maybe it's 20% smaller, maybe it's 30% larger, says James Acton, a physicist and co-director of the Nuclear Policy Program at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. And if it's a hydrogen bomb, it's a big deal. Normal nuclear weapons depend on splitting apart or fission of atoms for their explosive power. But for thermonuclear weapons, that's just the start. A comparatively small fission bomb made of uranium or plutonium is used to trigger a far larger blast through nuclear fusion, the sticking together of light atoms. Those atoms are hydrogen isotopes, which is where the hydrogen bomb derives its name. Modern nuclear weapons of the sort possessed by the U.S. and Russia are almost all thermonuclear in nature. It allows the weapons to pack a huge punch while fitting in a warhead small enough to be delivered by a missile. These weapons are also tens or hundreds of times more powerful than the ones used at the end of the Second World War. Kim's nuclear photo op spoke volumes. The day before the test, North Korea released photos of Kim Jong-un posing with a hydrogen bomb, or at least that looks a little like a dumbbell. One of the spherical shapes depicted could be the fission primary of the weapon, and the other the fusion or the secondary part of the weapon. Whether or not the device in picture is real, the photos are meant to clearly show that North Korea understands the concepts behind modern thermonuclear weapons. A diagram behind Kim also shows how the weapon could fit into a missile warhead. So there we have a little bit more on the scale of what he is trying to do, and some pictures and things of that nature. So I hope that clears it up. And they keep trying sanctions. They keep wanting to tighten the sanctions or add more sanctions or, other resolutions. And this has been going on for a while. And I'm probably going to wind up pre-recording the Fire and Fury series. Because the one thing that the Fire and Fury series, I think, is going to prove, in my opinion, is it doesn't matter the sanctions, it doesn't matter the resolutions, it doesn't matter how many inspectors you send to see if they're compliant. You can't sanction a madman. It seems to me that he is hell-bent on continuing with this in order to get a viable ICBM hydrogen thermonuclear weapon, in order to shoot it at Guam, at us, at Japan, take your pick. Because the last time the trajectory was measured, it could reach Anchorage, Alaska. I'm just leaving that up to you guys. Yep. The picture here pretty much tells you what the next story is going to be. Trump to scrap protection for dreamers. Gives Congress 6 months to fix. Washington, September 3rd. President Donald Trump has decided to scrap a program shielding from deportation immigrants who came to the United States illegally as children, but will give Congress 6 months to craft legislation to replace it. Sources familiar with the situation said the president decided to delay enforcement of his decision to end the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA. The two sources said on Sunday. One source cautioned that the president can change his mind. The decision to give Congress half a year to come up with an alternative, first reported by Politico, represents a compromise of sorts after top Republicans and business leaders asked Trump to keep the program. DACA, an Obama administration policy, protects nearly 800,000 young men and women, often called dreamers, from deportation and allows them to work legally. Dreamers are a fraction of the estimated 11 million illegal immigrants in the United States, most of them Hispanic. Trump, as a candidate, promised to deport all of them, but many Americans have rallied to support the young adults who have spent large parts of their lives in the United States. The decision, to be announced on Tuesday, will seek to placate both sides in the immigration debate. You can never placate both sides. You placate when you piss off the other side, but that's neither here nor there at the moment. At a time when the president is also grappling with North Korea's nuclear program and Houston's recovery from Hurricane Harvey. As a candidate, Trump pledged to immediately scrap the program, but he ran into stiff opposition. House Representative Speaker Paul Ryan urged Trump on Friday not to rescind the program and was joined by Senator Orrin Hatch, also a Republican. Representative Eliana Ros, I can't pronounce that last name, a Cuban-American, and it's not a Cuban name, otherwise I could pronounce it. You guys know this. A Cuban-American Republican from Florida tweeted her dismay with the decision to scrap DACA. After teasing Dreamers for months with talk of his great heart, POTUS slams the door on them. Some heart. That said, Trump's base will likely be far from happy about the president's decision to leave open the option of a fix. Representative Steve King, a hawk on immigration and an Iowa Republican, tweeted his opposition to the plan on Sunday night. Democrats like Senator Al Franken of Minnesota also wanted the program to continue. Franken called the reported decision a disgrace. And there's a little bit more of that story, and all these stories are going to be linked below as usual. Okay, my 2 cents. They came here as children, so they weren't anchor babies. They came here with their parents, without any input from them because they were too young to make any informed decisions to whether or not they wanted to leave their country and come here. Now they're old enough to. So you're telling me in the time that they have been here that they're now in college and working, which means they're legal adults, they haven't applied for citizenship? I'm gonna leave that question in the air. Because yeah, there's a difference. Dreamers are different from people that I'm sorry. But in my opinion, no. If you are now old enough and a legal adult in this country and you came here illegally via your parents and you want to stay here, find an immigration lawyer, go through the steps to become a legal citizen so you can stay here. In my opinion, Trump should rescind DACA. Trump should also go back and talk to Congress about putting back the stipulation that they had on anchor babies to where anchor babies need to go back with the illegal immigrants that birth them here in the United States until they're 18, and then they can come back as U.S. citizens. That was an amendment at one time to the immigration law. And if it isn't, it should be again, but DACA should be rescinded. Obama was too lax on immigration laws. He didn't enforce them. That is what led to the problems that we're having now. And I know it's going to piss off an entire fucking country because, oh my God, they're contributing. I don't care. They're not legal. They don't need to be here. They don't. 11 million illegal immigrants. 11 million. Why? Because we didn't want to turn them away. Because we didn't want, to enforce the laws that were already on the books. Federal laws, mind you, to round them up and deport them back to where they came from because they didn't want to be here legally and go through the steps to be legal. And every time I go through this conversation, I have a couple people going, well, I have a friend that's an illegal alien. I don't give a shit about your feelings. They're illegal. They shouldn't be here. Next story. Turkish official warns German leaders about fueling racism. Istanbul, a top Turkish official, took to social media on Monday to criticize comments on Turkey by German Chancellor Angela Merkel and her opponent during a televised pre-election debate. Ibrahim Kalin, the spokesman for the Turkish presidency, tweeted that Merkel and Martin Schulz were attacking Turkey and President Recep Tayyip Erdogan as a diversion for more urgent problems such as a surge in discrimination. Kalin and said Europe's attitude toward Turkey served to create other and populism in German politics would fuel discrimination and racism. In Sunday's debate, Scholz said he would seek to end long-running but currently stalled talks on Turkey joining the European Union because of Erdogan's increasingly authoritarian policies. Merkel, who has previously expressed doubts about Turkey ever joining the EU, refused to comment firmly to the same move, which would have to be agreed among EU members, but sharply criticized Erdogan's rule. She said that Turkey is departing from all democratic practices at breakneck speed. Polls show a double-digit lead for Merkel's conservative bloc over Scholz's center-left Social Democrats before Germany's September 24th election. One reason Merkel gave Sunday for keeping lines of communication open with Turkey was Germany's attempt to secure the release of 12 German citizens being held there for what Berlin considers a political reasons. And recently, 2 who were detained last week at Antalya Airport. A lawyer for one of those 2 says the person has now been released without conditions. German Foreign Ministry spokesman Rainer Brühl told reporters in Berlin on Monday. Turkish media have reported that the 2 German citizens of Turkish origin were detained for alleged links to Turkish media have reported that the 2 German citizens of Turkish origin were detained for alleged links to the network of U.S.-based cleric Fethullah Gulen. Ankara blames Gulen, a former ally of Erdogan, for last year's coup attempt in Turkey. Gulen denies the claim. And I think Turkey is one of those countries that's saying that, they're not going to let any of these refugees in because they see what's going on in Germany and all these other countries where they're forced to take in all these refugees and they don't want to be a part of it. And I can't say I blame them. I wouldn't want to be a part of that either. But then again, we're all seeing what's going on when you have this globalist view and you're allowing these refugees in without vetting them. And I understand some of them are refugees. Okay? Not all of them are, sneaking in and causing havoc. There are actual refugees that are trying to keep to themselves, were escaping the horrible conditions under which they were forced to live. I get that. But all we're seeing in the news are all the non-refugees and immigrants that are coming to these countries like France, like Spain, like Germany, and causing absolute havoc and chaos and breaking laws. And these 3 countries seemingly turning a blind eye because they're brown or they're Muslim, because they follow Islam. If you're not willing to force your immigrants and your refugees to integrate into your government society, you got what you were looking for. You got chaos. You got lawlessness. You have people in your country that are afraid to walk the streets at night now because you refuse to see Islam for what it was. This is your mess. And if you continue to turn a blind eye to what is happening, you're not going to have a country left. And that's the end of the news and the end of my 2 cents at the end of each story. So let's move on to the shout out, shall we? Are you looking for no holds barred, no nonsense, and non-politically correct discussions on media's hot topics? Look no further than American Reality Podcast. Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, join Mitch the Ripper, Ronan Wolf, and Ghost as they tackle all the topics that make us all cringe.
Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
Our shout outs today start with Bricky Orchid 8. If you want So You Want a Main videos, let's play videos and commentary on Overwatch and other games as well, check out Bricky. He's fun, he's funny, and he's absolute enjoyment to watch, no matter what game you're interested in. Next one on the list is Chillhop Music. If you're looking for music to study to, music to read to, or just chill out to, Chillhop Music is the channel for you. They also have a link to their website and other places online where you can actually, as a YouTube creator, download music to play in videos. Yes, they let you play their music in your videos. So please check out Chillhop Music. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Our next two is a wife and husband team, or significant other team, as they like to call one another. And I'm going to start with the prettiest of the pair. Pagan Butterfly Kitten. She's intelligent, she's smart, and she's funny, and she's very insightful when it comes to the videos and things she's responding to on her channel. And with 46 subscribers, she needs a little more love and attention from you guys. So if you could please give me just one little favor and go check her out. I'm sure you won't be disappointed in her either. And her avatars are absolutely adorable. And now for her other darker half, Sir Wolfie. Dominant in both his love life and the way he attacks things in his response videos. He is funny, he is quirky, and he is also insightful. Check him out and check his channel out, and you won't be disappointed in him either. And that concludes our shout-outs. Usually on Monday I do a facepalm and media moment, but I figured in light of all the disasters and oncoming Irma that I'm going to do a good news story segment today on Monday as well. So let's get to that, shall we? Plumber funds scholarship for kids with incarcerated parents. This is CBS News, Sunday, September 3rd. Cy Lindbergh wasn't sure he'd ever pack up for the drive to Snow College. College was stressful because I was always thinking, like, how am I going to make up the money to go, Cy said. He was just 5 years old when his father was sent to prison. Even the cost of an in-state school seemed out of reach. Mom comes in. She goes, "You got the scholarship." And I was like, "I can go to college," Cy said. The philanthropist behind Cy's scholarship was Carl Winsness. Most of the time you think of philanthropists, you know, Rockefeller, people with big money, Carl said. Carl is a plumber in Salt Lake City, and for the last 5 years, the source of one of the country's only scholarships for kids with incarcerated parents. These kids haven't done anything wrong, Carl said. He solicits donations with homemade flyers, but mostly the money has come out of his own $30,000 salary. I don't smoke, I don't drink from Starbucks, I don't have HBO, he said. So I don't waste a lot of money on that stuff. So seriously, what's $1,000? $1,000 is the amount of most of the 17 Willie the Plumber scholarships Carl has given to Utah students. And if that doesn't sound like a lot, you've never been where Macy Nielsen was. $1,000 was a huge deal, she said. Her application essay explained that her dad and mom were sent to jail. I never got to give my parents a hug or have them tuck me in, she wrote. Her grandparents raised her. I moved in when I was 5, she said. It's pretty much home to her. But in truth, the money is only part of the prize for a kid like Macy. You really get down on yourself. People judge you and you feel like you can't do anything, Macy said. And all of a sudden you have this random stranger who believes in you and knows that you're not who your parents are, and you do have a chance. Carl knows what it means for a parent to be absent. He shot an intruder who turned out to be a police officer and served 17 years unable to support his own 2 daughters. It's nice to be able to give back or correct wrongs, he said. Maybe it's all just part of the healing process. Carl says the money he sends to kids like Cy helps ease the anger of all those wasted years. You know, I'm very grateful for this opportunity to go, Cy said. And there's your good news for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Don't forget to catch Jason's Pub tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link is below, as well as all the other links. Don't forget to support me by either tipping the tip jar in the description, visiting my website to either hire me as a freelance writer, or also, becoming a patron or perusing my jewelry shop. So on that note, my friends, may your coffee ever flow, may your caffeine be ever strong, and may you have a marvelous Monday and a wonderful Labor Day. See ya!